Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's early morning. 3:22 a.m. my time, and we're going to do a little bit of astrology. Go ahead and do the daily on it. Let you know what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to the astrology. All right, we had that mystical rectangle going on yesterday and the grand trine. You can see now it's gone. Okay, again, you're going to have to look at the houses and just the wheel to where your ascending or your sun sign is in that first house. And where you were born at, what you were born under. And you'll count that as house 1, and from there you'll go on around the chart to your 12th house. All right, today, what we got here, we have the moon at 28 degrees, 45 minutes into Scorpio. It's going to be leaving it today. Okay, it will be about 6:11 Eastern Standard Time. That it will then go into Sagittarius, where we will begin to now start toward that new moon that we're going to have on the 13th or the 12th. 12th. In my case, it will probably be the 13th. No, it's the 12th. Okay, I was just checking. That will be tomorrow. The new moon will begin. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about this moon and where it sits at right now. We can see it right here. All right. And what it is doing right now, it is sextiling over to Pluto at 28:45. And remember that the sextiles, meaning 60 degrees here of separation. Remember, it's about sextiles are about being productivity and success. It's about the mental attitudes being activated. But it has to be activated for it to work. We're talking about Mercury here as well. But this is emotions. This is where we know Pluto is going to be moving next year, early next year. It will be moving into Aquarius. Sometime toward the end of the year, it will come back into Capricorn at 29 degrees, which it won't be there long. And then I think it's about a month or a month and a half, and it will go back into Aquarius where it'll stay there for the next 20 years. And it will be working on humanity. Or it will be working in your house, whatever that house is, Aquarius is for you. And it will be destroying things, changing things, pushing you to transform something here that's not right. But it will create a lot of issues that's going to, in that area where it is in your chart, that it's going to make these drastic transformations in that house. And it will be working on all of us. We're not going to be left out. Nobody's going to be left out here on this. But mostly today we're dealing with the moon going into Sagittarius and its aspects to other planets. Now, like I said, it will move into Sagittarius. And when it moves into Sagittarius, right now it's in its fall in Scorpio. You heard me talk about that yesterday. But today, as it moves in this morning, early this morning, like I said, 6:11 Eastern Standard Time, when it moves into Sagittarius, it will be focusing mostly with the nodes. The south node will be exalted, whereas the north node will be in its fall. Now, my north node happens to be Libra. My south node happens to be Aries. They're opposite of where they are in my chart at the time of my birth. So, the south node for me, being in Libra, which would have been my normal north node, there's something with the past that I would still have to deal with. I'm using myself as a reference here. You use it as to what it is for you. And the North Node that's in the fall would be the future, or the head of the snake, the dragon, whatever you want to call it, is what, Rahu is. It usually references either a dragon or a snake. It's the head. So, and the South Node is the body, the actions, things that we do. It's often referred to as, with the South Node, where things have to be secreted, released, let go of, or have the courage to make the decisions here. So, for me, that South Node is going to be exalted, whereas the North Node is going to be in a fall here, with the moon being in Sagittarius. Remember, the nodes are a point in space where the line is connected to the moon, but it's a point of a degree of where that line is. So there is definitely something with the South Node being in that fall where it's weak. It's maybe somewhat repressed for the future, because we don't know what the future is going to be. We can sort of somewhat, with astrology, assess and maybe predict some things here, according to what we feel or what actions we take. We know that the South Node, that Neptune is in conjunction with the South Node. So there's something where you got to have the courage here to release, or something where spiritually, because Neptune is a spiritual planet as well, but it's also defined in many other ways. It's where your spiritual vision, your creative imagination, your psychic ability leads you beyond this materialistic world, or the materiality of the world. Glamour, illusions are negative. So if the North Node is in a fall, there's something of, you don't cling. I'm with nothing there other than the trine of Mars. It's good to have your dreams. It's good to have your goals, but are you going to devote yourself to them for the future? And like I said yesterday on the reading of the astrology, is I have my plans, I have my goals, I have set my aspirations to achieve this or accomplish that. Remember, there will be people that will try and maybe cause problems or obstacles or challenges for you to obtain that. There could be some limits here, that but don't let fear overtake or take you emotionally and say you can't achieve this for the future, because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the word I can't, or you're not able to. I don't listen to what people tell me. I know what I can do and what I'm capable of doing. So if your goal and your aspiration is that strong, and you believe, and you know you can do something here, this is the time to light that eternal flame, that spiritual devotion to something of a dream or a vision that you want to create in reality. Make it a reality. You can do that, but you've got to really be devoted to it. And not that, how you accomplish this square or this challenge Don't let fear overcome you that you feel like you can't do it. You can do it. You just got to be motivated to go there. That this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. And you have to put the work in. Saturn demands it. Saturn is where you learn to operate within the limitations of society. You have responsibilities and the rules, but leave out fear and obstruction and limitations. Overcome that, and you will achieve what it is you desire here, working for it. Don't let anybody steal your aspirations, your goals, your dreams, your plans, and try to claim it as their own, or take from you and give to someone else what was your dreams, your goals. This is where you stand up and face that fear or that obstruction or the limitations and say, I'd be damned that you're going to take from me what is mine, or my goals, my aspirations, my plans. Because this is what I want. I am devoted to it. If it's a person that you're devoted to, you know, a lot of people, when they're together in a relationship and there's issues, too many people want to escape the problems. They don't want to take the responsibility. That's what I see in society today. You get involved in a relationship and people think, well, it's like divorce is too easy. There's problems in the relationship and we can't work them out. Are you putting the effort in to work it out? Are you communicating? Are you expressing what it is you need in this relationship? If you haven't put the effort in to build that relationship and work in it, it's a work. It's not easy. It's just not, I love you and we're gonna build this, our dream home, we're gonna have our dream family, we're gonna this and that. That's all fine and dandy to have those things and accomplish those things. But we got eternal needs as well. You can't ignore your partner. There's got to be the communication when problems or issues arise. First time, all of a sudden, the bank account goes low because of feeling those necessities in life. Somebody blames the other person for spending all the money. And you have to be willing to sit down and communicate. Don't be idle in a relationship and say, well, the wife handles the budget or my partner handles the budget. No, you need to be proactive in knowing what's going on. You need to be responsible. Don't put all the responsibilities on the other person. And the other person should say, no, you're not going to escape this. If you've got a partner that's cheating, what is their problem? There's some underlying deep-rooted problem why a person needs to cheat on another person. They're either very non-committal and never have been committed and don't want to commit to anything. They just want to receive, get what they want. Stay away from those kind of people. They're lovers of themselves. If they're not going to work in it, then they're not for you. That's the way it goes. Now, let's get back to where this is. So we talked about the nodes here. And we've talked about Saturn. I haven't said anything about Neptune yet, but the Neptune is in a quincunx with that south node. And Neptune is where your spiritual vision, your creative imagination, and your psychic ability leads you beyond that materiality, what I said. Glamour and illusions are negative. Don't get drawn in to the fame and the fortune, and not everybody can be famous. It would be in their chart if they were going to be at the time of their birth. But everybody wants to be recognized in certain ways, which they deserve that in their accomplishment. They need to be praised because they were devoted to achieve something. But with Neptune being in that quincunx with the South Node, it's saying here you need to release that glamour or that illusions that you have of something here. Be realistic in what you can accomplish here. Don't think so much of the materialistic. Think about your spiritual self. And release things of this world. Because remember, it's like I said before, when we pass on this from this world, there ain't nothing we take with us. The only thing we take is our spirit. And eventually that leaves us. The only thing we're left here with is the shell, the body. Came from dust, will return to dust. That's in scripture. You came from dust, you will return to dust. You don't take your fancy cars. You don't take your wardrobe. You don't take your family. You don't take anything but your spirit that's in you. And that's what you need to work on. Is you. And why you're here on this earth is to have aspirations, have plans, have goals, to have a good life, to live a good, healthy life. And when you meet a challenge from somebody who maybe is not living that way, and how you face it, and how you handle it, shows what you're made of inside. And how you take the responsibility for things. If you've made a mistake, correct the mistake. You know, there's only certain things that we do we cannot correct when we make a mistake. Murder's one of them. And if you follow those commandments, those 10, it'll tell you those are mistakes that some you cannot correct. But anything else, you can. If you've told somebody something and it was wrong, and you find out later you made a mistake, admit to them. I'm sorry. Apologize. But make it right. Make it right. Like if you borrow something from a neighbor and you forget about it and you don't take it back to them and they question you about it. Say, oh, I gave that back to you a long time ago. And later on you find out you didn't give it back, then you need to give it back to them and say, you know, hey, I'm sorry. But if you intentionally are stealing, then that's a sin. That's wronging somebody. And we got to look at those things. But when this moon, like I said, it gets into Sagittarius, it's not just, oh, we're going to have a new lunar cycle for the next 29.5 days or 28 days. So that happens every 28 days, right? That's nothing big. But it's what's going on in that 28 days that makes it so much important. And when it hits into that, it's going to be connected to those nodes. Those nodes of the past and the future are going to be important. And there's decisions you're going to have the courage to make here. Especially as it connects, that moon connects or comes conjunct with the other planets. What are you going to work toward? And what are you aspired to work in toward that plan or goal you have to accomplish something here? There's going to be some difficulties. There's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some opposition. What is it you desire here to work toward? Now we have Mercury that's going to go stationary tomorrow. I believe it's it may be after this or right before this new moon that it will go stationary, or it's right after. I can't remember which, but we'll address that tomorrow when it happens. But this, like I said, it will be coming in contact first with Mars. Now, Mercury is in a sextile with Venus. So it's something here where the mind, the communicator, the language is trying to speak to Venus. It's addressing something with Venus. Now, as it goes retrograde, it's going to be reassessing, reevaluating the connection and how it's communication and where as you've expressed something here of what you desire, what you want to accomplish, what is it is in your mind, that your plan, your goal you have here. Because Venus is all about the beauty of things. It's about what it wants. And you got to be careful about what she wants, because she can cause a loss as well as a gain. But right now, with her being in a detriment in Scorpio, because she's desiring so much, that's all it is. She wants to have these things. She wants to adorn herself. She likes beauty. She wants to look beautiful. But right now, she's weak. She's repressed. Because she's in opposition of the house that she rules. She doesn't rule this house. Mars does. Masculine energy. So there could be some kind of, between the masculine and the feminine energy, there could be some sort of conflict of what the feminine desires to what the masculine can rationalize is needed. And this is where the moon comes in that says, okay, can't have that. That's okay. I'm not one that, looks at every little thing in the world and say, oh, yeah, I see a lot of things that are beautiful. But if it's capable, or if I really need it, I look more at things, what I need. Yeah, I see things that I would love to have, but do I actually need it? That's the thing I question myself. Do you actually need that? That's the first thing I do before I do something. And then I say, well, no, I really don't really need it. It'd be nice to have it, but I don't need it. There's other things I need. The things of food, clothing, those, being responsible, paying my bills, doing all those things. And having the funds to do that. Save back a little money to work towards something. So this is a day where you're going to have to be more responsible, because these planets are now starting to go direct. And Chiron will be going direct as well on the 26th. Jupiter will be going direct on the 30th, while Mercury's going retrograde, and it will move back into Sagittarius, where there'll be some of revisions or revised or reconsideration, rethinking our plans, rethinking our goals. What can we do right now at this moment during these 28 days that we can accomplish toward that plan or toward that goal for the future? Like I set a goal for 5 years from now, okay? And the biggest goal is to build a home, which is what I want to do. So I'm working toward that direction. And there's certain things you have to do to prepare for that. Now, we also have the sun that at this time is in a quincunx with Jupiter. I mean, not Jupiter. I'm looking right at it. Uranus, and it's retrograde. So there could be where you're looking back at things that suddenly created shifts or changes, or things just came about out of nowhere that you did not anticipate. Remember that Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are those interpersonal planets that will push you beyond your comfort zone to force you to do something here you need to do. And the more you resist on those, the more difficulty you're going to have. And if you are making those changes, you are doing those things and stepping outside of that zone to make the changes, life's going to be a lot more easier for you. And what you need will be provided. It will be more accessible towards you, to you, to obtain what it is you aspire to have. Then the moon, like I said, is going to move into Sagittarius, where it'll be for the next 2.5 days. 2 to 2.5 days. And this will be at 6:11 in the morning. Then it's going to go to that 1 degrees mark where I said, there's the square with the Saturn here. There's something here you've got to work through. This is usually when the day starts at 9:13 Eastern Standard Time, my time. People going to work. People carrying on the day. The day's Monday. It's going to be ruled by the moon. So, and it's going to be dealing with some things in the past. You may have to make some decisions here. You're going to have the courage. Anytime you see these brown dotted lines in my chart, it's a quincunx. And it's saying, okay, it's time now. Are you going to go and light this flame? Are you still devoted to something here to meet the requirements that are required? Are you going to work toward it? Because how you handle this with this square to Saturn shows what you're made of inside. And I know what I need to do today. I know exactly what I need to do today. And it will make you easier with that trine from Saturn. You handle this square, this challenge, what needs to be done, and things that flame, that devotion you have to something will get moving. It'll get higher and higher, where you can devote more time to it. And that's where, by handling this, that flame is lit. Maybe you've kind of backed off from it for some reason. Maybe there was other responsibilities you had to take care of, but it's time to now revisit that flame that you have, that spiritual, eternal flame, that plan, that goal, that devotion to a cause or a project or a person or even a belief that you have, and get moving on it. Because if you don't, you're not going to attain what it is you aspire to create. We're all here to create something. And it all begins with the sextile here of the moon to Pluto. To make this transition. It's time to make the transition. and Neptune in the sextile to Pluto as well, about what your vision is. What is your highest idealism that you have to accomplish something here? And awaken that flame back up of what you desire to go toward for the future. The next thing we have here is going to be is dealing with Mercury while in Capricorn. Remember I said it's going to go stationary. It's conjunct with the midheaven. Where is your purpose lie? The midheaven is as above, so below. So there's something here with the midheaven above that you're trying to achieve or accomplish here, whether it be going to school, whether it be the job, whether it be the resources that you need, whatever it is, but it's also in as above, so below. It's that eternal flame. What are you going to dedicate and devote yourself to? What do you aspire for? And you're going to have to, like I said, with all these quincunxes that are there, you're going to have to make some decisions, and you're going to have the courage to make those decisions. If you don't have the support that you need around you, and people aren't supporting you or don't want to work with you, then let them go. They're just going to be a hindrance. Make sure you set your aspirations as something you can obtain. Work out the plan to get there. So you can accomplish that goal, and you've got to really be devoted to something. Believe me, I know. I know. And right now, that moon is in that quincunx with Jupiter, the expansion and growth. How am I going to make this expand? How am I going to grow here? Well, number one is you facing the challenges, taking the responsibilities. And we see now, by later on this day, by 2:15, that sextile from the moon to Pluto is gone now. So it's something with the decision that you had to make earlier about that devotion. Are you still devoted to something here to work on it in this cycle that you really, really need, or you feel like you want to obtain something here? What is your spirit? What is your heart telling you? What is it your heart really desires here? Because it's facing and it's dealing, as long as that moon is sitting in Sagittarius, it's about the nodes. Don't get into the glamour. Don't get into the illusions. Don't let anybody feed you a bull crap story of their ideal or whatever they want. You do what you want. You waited, you've been patient or whatever, and they're feeding you a line of story, and they're not getting whatever that is that help you to obtain something there, then you need to confront them. This challenge that's there, that's limiting you. If there's another person that's restricting you or limiting you in some way, because Saturn is usually an authoritative figure. You need to face this. That's what squares are about. And it shows how you handle it. You handle it in a very diplomatic way and say, look, I've been patient. I've been patiently waiting. But nothing's happened here. So I have to move on now. Pay them for their service of whatever it is that you think is fair, that you can negotiate with them. Of what they have done, pay them for their service or whatever, and say, okay, that's it. I mean, if you're building a house and the person does this whatever part of the job, or they're started on it, or whatever they're doing, and then they get to a point where it has to be inspected, then it's your responsibility to get the inspector there to inspect it and let them look at it and make sure the job is, and then you get in touch with the person and say, okay, it's time for you to come back. If you're waiting and waiting and waiting and this person is not returned back, then you need to tell them. Don't ever pay somebody for a whole job, only pay them for what they have done. Then your contract with them is diminished. Because if they don't come back and they're not doing the work, then they're holding you up. There's your fear. There's your obstruction. There's your limitation. Face it and deal with it. And make the necessary decisions you have to make. That's being responsible. And then we end the day at 5:15, which is not really the end of the day, but for this time that's going on here for the 11th, the moon then comes into conjunction with Mars. And we have those quincunxes. I'm not too much worried about the sextiles. Those are pretty easy. And the trions are pretty easy to deal with. You know, you may be still working on some healing things, on something that comes up. You're still working toward that future of what you have, your plan, your goal. The only thing I worry mostly about is the squares and the quincunxes, or those things that are really challenging me to do something here and what they're connected to. So most of this is, you know, with the moon here in conjunct with Mars, it's in a quincunx to Jupiter, the moon is, and it's like expansion and growth. Because we know that we need to be more optimistic with Jupiter. It's a personal expansion process of your realm and your horizons. Look beyond them. Be prepared to what's to come that's on the horizon that you need to deal with. Don't ignore it. And the house brings good luck. And where Jupiter lies, which right now it's in Taurus, so wherever this is in your chart, it brings good fortune to that, of possessions, or reviewing those possessions that maybe are no longer useful. Maybe there's some things you got to make a decision that you need to get rid of. If, you know, even if a relationship isn't expanding, then let it go. Set it free. Doesn't mean that somebody else isn't going to come in. You still stay focused on where you're going. You stay focused on that horizon and look at your realm and what you want to, how you want it to expand and how you want it to grow and what's coming in that you want to bring in. But this house brings good fortune and good luck. It's the house of optimism, confidence, and pride. Take pride in what you have accomplished and what you have achieved. I know sometimes it's hard. I'm going through some stuff myself that, you know, I'm looking around at things and I'm like, you know, there's success here, but there's still work to be done. And how I go about doing that is getting with the right people that can help me achieve what I need to achieve. There's work that needs to be done there. And I leave it to the faith and the destiny that people are going to come into my life that's going to help me do that. That things that I can really say that is not physically I'm capable of doing. Because either one, I don't have the muscle mass, I'm not a man, I can't do this, certain things a man can do, I can't do. Okay, I know my limitations. I know where my, you know, my obstructions are. You know, I can't go out there and just pick up, you know, this big motor or something like that, or pick up something heavy that weighs more than me. I'm not able to do those things. But there's certain things I can do. So the things I can do and things that maybe may be a little bit more difficult, I start using my mind. How can I move this from there to here? Or how can I get rid of this and get it out of my way? So I've got decisions to make here that I need to do some things. I need to clean some things up. I need to work in a way and still be able to take care of responsibilities that I have. And believe you me, there's probably going to be something there that's going to come up. It's going to be enlightening me into something there that, hey, this, you forgot this over here. Remember when this happened, you got to take care of it. And I'm still working on those. So it's all of that today. And it's about what it is that I feel like it's really all about. What are you going to dedicate and aspire to? What plans do you have? What goals do you want to reach here? Face the challenges. Don't be afraid, because it shows you character about you. Face those things that, not with fear, but face them that it's some kind of obstruction. It's some sort of limitation due to something else in society, but I've got to work through it. And you'll be okay. Always take the retrogrades and look at them as a revision of the plan, the goal, the expansion, the optimism. Where did you lose your optimism? When did you stop? Right now it's, even with the retrograde, there's still that luck, but it will change, because at the end of the month, things are going to start moving forward, you guys, and things will expand. Things on the horizon will look so much better when you start doing those things that need to be done. Having the courage to face those challenges. Show what you're made of. And expanding and working through those energies that you had the courage to make the decision and say, well, done all I can do there. Sometimes you got to let things go and set it free. And a lot of it, that old saying of, as far as people are concerned, friends, relationships, whatever it is, family members or whatever, sometimes, you got to set it free. And if it's meant to be, it'll come back and it'll be right. If it's not, then it was never meant to be to begin with. It was just something that was creating the difficulty in your life. And you need to deal with it. Okay? So anyway, y'all take care. And I will see you later. Bye for now.